Well, good afternoon, everyone. Looks like a great crowd out here, a record ROMA crowd. I want to take this opportunity to thank Alan for welcoming our government to our first ROMA conference. I want to thank you for that warm welcome. I'd also, yes, give Alan a hand, absolutely. I see in the front row my friend from Rideau Lakes, Ron Holman. And I want to thank you, Ron, for your great passion and advocacy on behalf of ROMA. Great job. Folks, I'd also like to recognize a few people, if you'll indulge me, at the start of my speech. My two parliamentary assistants, Christine Hogarth, my PA in Housing, and Jim McDonnell, my parliamentary assistant in Municipal Affairs. Jim, Christine? There's Christine there? Perfect. As I think most of you know, they've been a tremendous help to me in my capacity as minister, and I know that they've taken a significant amount of meetings as well at ROMA. I want to also thank as well my cabinet colleagues, and I know that they've been very busy with the delegations, and they're all very smiling, looking at me right now, very excited about the Minister's Bear Pet session in a few moments. So you can just feel their enthusiasm, can't you? Finally, I'd like to take this opportunity to say to all of the newly elected municipal representatives and also the newly elected members of the ROMA board, I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you for your service to your communities and also to your service at ROMA. So I think most of you who know me know that I've been looking forward to the ROMA conference. It's a conference that I think really speaks volumes on why rural Ontario matters and why ROMA matters. Back in 1988-89, when I was president of AMO, I saw firsthand the work that your board committee members do to advance the interests of rural Ontario. ROMA has accomplished more for rural Ontario than any one community could have done alone. Our government for the people recognizes that, and we want to keep working with you. That's why Premier Ford was here this morning, and as well my colleague, Minister Hardeman, who is working hard on behalf of rural Ontario each and every day. Wonderful speech this morning, Ernie. It's also why we have so many of our cabinet here. And I want to, again, congratulate my cabinet colleagues. Another consultation record. We've accepted more than 300 delegations at ROMA. Thank you to my cabinet colleagues for your commitment to rural Ontario. Since coming to office 7 months ago, we've taken action on many rural issues that ROMA has championed for years, from protecting double-hatter firefighters, scrapping the Green Energy Act, extending natural gas lines, investing in broadband, and standing up for farmers whose corn crops were hit by wet weather and disease last year. We're putting rural concerns front and center. As Premier Ford said this morning, our government is one that keeps its promises. And I want to highlight the progress we've had on a number of priorities that I spoke about in August at AMO. Notre gouvernement tient ses promesses. Aujourd'hui, je veux souligner les progrès concernant la priorité que j'ai mentionnée à l'amont. We're committed to make life more affordable for individuals and families. As you know, we inherited an alarming deficit after years of reckless spending. We're committed to restoring fiscal balance on a timetable that is reasonable, modest, and pragmatic. It means every single ministry needs to find ways to deliver services more efficiently and ensure every dollar spent delivers value for taxpayers. That's not going to be easy for our government, and it's not going to be easy for municipalities. Our government is committed to supporting municipalities in a way that is sustainable and responsible. That's why we're conducting a review of the Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund. And we're seeking municipal feedback on how best to refocus this program to better support northern and rural municipalities that need it most. Details regarding final OMPF allocations for 2019 will be released once the review is complete. To support municipalities while the program is under review, a 2019 interim first quarterly payment is being issued. It's equivalent to the municipality's 2018 OMPF quarterly payment. The interim payment is being made to support cash flow administration only and does not reflect 2019 actual OMPF allocations. We respect you, our municipal partners, and are committed to working constructively with all local governments to find smarter and more efficient ways to make life better for our communities. Like I said at AMO, I'm working with my cabinet colleagues to apply a municipal lens to decision-making, and as a former mayor and a former CAO, I can tell you that I understand your challenges. As we review every program and every funding line, we'll be looking at the whole picture government-wide, and also using our AMO MOU table to keep the lines of communication open to ensure that we have ongoing consultations with our municipal partners. As we work to restore Ontario's fiscal health, we will preserve critical services and support the hardworking people of this province. And the Premier has been very clear. We're making Ontario open for business. The cost of doing business in Ontario has been too high for too long. So in December, we introduced legislation that would target unnecessary regulations while protecting the environment and health and safety. This included changes that would create a new economic development tool for municipalities to shorten the time it takes to build job-creating projects. Since the legislation was introduced, we've heard from stakeholders and municipalities who expressed serious concerns about environmental protections around the use of the tool. And many municipalities actually opted out of ever using it. So we've listened to the concerns that were expressed by the municipal sector. So when our legislature returns, we will not proceed with Schedule 10 of Bill 66 as it has become a distraction to the important work our government is doing to strengthen Ontario's economy. So let me be perfectly clear. The safety of our waters remains a priority for our government, and we remain committed to protecting the Greenbelt. Another priority I've focused on is helping to create more housing. After years of inaction by the previous government, we need solutions to fix the housing crisis. Across the province, people are struggling to find the right kind of housing that they need and that they can afford. We recently finished consultations to find for the Housing Supply Action Plan. We had a tremendous response, almost 2,000 submissions when the online consultation closed on Friday. We're going through all of those now, and we're going to have an action plan ready this spring which will address the barriers to increasing housing supply. One that will make housing more affordable, give people more choice, and create more of the right type of housing in the right places. One of the things that contributes to housing delays and high prices is the development approval process. That's why I'm leading a government-wide initiative to streamline it. And I want to be clear that this is distinct from the Open for Business bylaw for job-creating business that I spoke about earlier. I'm talking about streamlining development for housing. And I know better than anyone that it's complex. It means harmonizing the building code with the national code, looking at the growth plan, the provincial policy statement, and the Planning Act. We need transformative change that is responsive to rural issues, that respects rural Ontario. We need policy that promotes housing choice and affordability across the province. Because only by making it faster and easier to build housing can we drive prices down and give people more choice, create more jobs for the hardworking people of Ontario, and get our economy booming again. So as you know, the Greater Golden Horseshoe is a key region when it comes to growth, and municipalities have told us about challenges in implementing the growth plan. We responded recently with proposed changes. We've posted them on the Environmental Registry, and I hope that you'll comment on them by February 28th. Our proposed changes reflect feedback from agricultural representatives and environmental groups, business and development sectors, and urban, rural, and municipal planners. We sat down with them last fall because we wanted to develop practical solutions. We'll also be holding a number of further regional roundtables in the weeks and months ahead. So if you've already started implementing the growth plan, nothing we're proposing should impact your work. But if you're finding implementation difficult, our changes are meant to help. For example, we're proposing to set aside the mapping the previous government rushed through on the eve of the election for agricultural and natural heritage systems. Thank you. It overrode your local planning and stopped development. During this time of transition, to get the mapping right, the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs and the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry will work with you to ensure that we are all using one map that reflects local realities. We will not undermine protection for either agricultural or natural heritage systems. We all want mapping that's accurate. I don't have to tell you this, but rural communities grow differently from urban ones. One size doesn't fit all, and our proposed changes reflect that. Getting it right means we need input, not a unilateral decision handed down by the province. So reducing the burden you face because of all the provincial reports that we send you or we ask for you was another priority that I highlighted at AMO. When we've made good progress since August, and I think there's lots more to do. For example, we have 10 capital programs for housing, where service managers have to provide 40 reports over a 4-year period, just to tell us that everything's on track. In some cases, the reports go on for 20 years. We're going to change that. Starting in the next fiscal year, most service managers will report on each program only once every 4 years, which will cut reporting by 75%. So at AMO, I said we would be reviewing Ontario's regional government system. For almost 50 years, it's time to see if we can improve it to serve people better. We recently announced that Ken Sealing and Michael Fenn will be helping with this and providing advice to me early this summer. We'll be examining Ontario's 8 regional municipalities, their lower-tier municipalities, and also the County of Simcoe, because their populations have grown dramatically, infrastructure pressures are mounting, and taxpayers' dollars are being stretched. So I want to reinforce that I'm waiting for the results of Michael and Ken's review and their advice. Municipalities, businesses, residents in these regions will absolutely have their say in the coming months, and that input will inform our recommendations. So I want to come back to something that Premier Ford announced this morning related to joint and several liability. As a former mayor and a former AMO president, I know that our urban and rural municipalities have been calling for changes for years. That's why my cabinet colleague, Attorney General, the Honourable Caroline Mulroney, and I are going to be consulting with you. You can count on us to listen to your concerns and examine the facts. This is a conversation that's long overdue, and we're going to have more to say about the process and the timing very soon. I'd like to conclude by reinforcing our commitment to keep working with you and all AMO members. J'aimerais conclure en confirmant notre engagement à continuer de collaborer avec vous et tous les membres de l'AMO. whether that's through our many formal consultations, our monthly MOU meetings, the mayor's days that the Premier has had, or your local meetings or housing summits, we are listening. Returning our province to fiscal health is going to make tough choices. It's going to be tough choices for all of us. By cutting red tape, streamlining development approvals, building more of the right kinds of housing in the right places, and respecting taxpayers' dollars, I know that we can help rural families, businesses, and communities thrive, boost Ontario's competitiveness and attract new jobs to our communities, and show the business community and show the world that rural Ontario is open for business. Rural matters, Roma matters. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. So in my neck of the woods, they'd say, I think my colleagues are chomping at the bit to come up here for the bear pit. So I'd like to ask my colleagues to come forward, and Nigel Belchamber will be directing our bear pit session.